Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Whiskey Rebellion. Today we are turning Japanese. I actually grew up in Japan. My dad was a career Marine, and some of the first whiskeys I ever tried were Japanese whiskeys. And it's very exciting to try these, and we have some guests today. They are some repeating, some are not. One sexy beast here works here. One of our main bartenders at McCormick's Big Whiskey Grill. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Melanie Martin. I typically drink scotch and bourbon, but I've never had any of the Japanese whiskey, so I'm really anxious to try them.
I'm Michael. I'm from Pennsylvania, from a dry town, and did not start drinking till I was 28. And I drink a little bit of everything. I like to experiment and try new things.
It's still a dry town?
It's really just in the past year that it's changed from a dry town to having actually a brewery. So
that's kind of crazy. Do they still have like creepy looking guys playing banjos in the background?
It's for dogs. They welcome dogs in and everything.
That's so wild.
That's part of it. Yeah.
We had a dry county in Virginia for a long time. I think it didn't just stop being Franklin. Is it not dry anymore? And I found out, just sorry for interrupting, that it was actually the moonshiners that were lobbying to keep it a dry town.
Yeah,
because that was their source.
They're good.
Money.
Yeah, that's right. They had their own lobbyists. It's so crazy.
Hi, I'm Brian Hobbs. You've seen me a couple of times on here before.
Sexual chocolate.
Yes, absolutely. But I'm one of the bartenders here at McCormick's.
Actually, you work at both restaurants.
Yes, I work at both Whiskey Grill locations.
Brian hates Japanese whiskey, and that's what we're doing today.
It's awful.
I'm just kidding.
No one should buy it.
So Japanese whiskey for a while was very unknown. When we first opened the fan location almost 15 years ago, you could buy Japanese whiskey pretty easily. No one cared about it. The most popular at the time was the Suntory Yamazaki 12-year, and it was a $32 bottle. And shots at the restaurant were $8 at the time. And then the Yamazaki 18-year was the expensive one at $80 a bottle. So shots of that were $17 at the time. Brian can tell you now what those prices are.
Yeah, it's almost 10 times that.
Yes. Currently the shot price for the 12 is $35 a shot, or $32, and then the 18-year is $125.
Yeah.
The things changed, I want to say it was 2013 or 2014. The Suntory Yamazaki 18-year Sherry Cask won Whiskey of the World, and all of a sudden, everybody wanted Japanese whiskey. A month before that, nobody wanted it, and prices just went. And I would say that probably 1 in 6 people that come here ask about Japanese whiskey immediately, which never happened before that. So it's a pretty wild category. Japan's also had some really big changes recently. Most countries have pretty strict rules about how their whiskey has to be produced, aged, things like that. Japan was kind of the Wild West for a while. And they could use whiskey from around the world and call it Japanese whiskey. Well, the Japanese government recently intervened and said, no, you can't do that. And so that has led into a brand new whiskey from Suntory called, is it AO? AO?
I don't know.
It's Suntory World Whiskey, and it is a blend of Irish, Scotch, American, Canadian, and Japanese. But it's all from distilleries that Beam Suntory owns. They blended it together. And this is definitely a new product, and that's just because of the new rules in Japan. So this will be the first one we try. Then one of my favorites, Nika from the Barrel, cask strength Japanese whiskey, absolutely amazing. And then we had to do an Ohishi, because Ohishi is a unique one compared to the other ones. These are both distilled from kind of standard grains, barley. This is a rice distilled whiskey, and still whiskey, has to be from grains. Completely different characteristic. I love the rice distilled whiskeys. They're really beautiful. This particular one is the Islay cask, so it is aged in actual Islay whiskey barrels from Scotland. Micah, our producer and director over here, hates those kind of whiskeys. Yes, so he will definitely want to try this one. But we're just going to get into it and let you guys try everything here.
I've never had Japanese whiskey, but I do tend to like the scotch and the bourbon that are hotter, that are higher proof.
Well, typically I find Japanese whiskeys to be like really soft and beautiful. They're kind of elegant whiskeys.
Definitely more Scotch-like.
Yes.
Definitely smells more like a scotch.
I love the nose on this one.
It's better than I thought it was going to be, because with a blend of 5 different countries,
Yeah.
sometimes that,
Yeah, Michael, you'll want to try this one.
The nose of this, when you smell it, to me reminds me of like an unripe peach. When you smell an unripe peach, it still has that sweetness, but it doesn't truly smell like a peach yet. And that's what this, just on the nose, gives me.
It doesn't have that maturity yet.
No, but I really like the nose on it.
I love the peatiness of it too.
It's a little young.
Mm-hmm. So are you. Or I'm just old, really old. Back when Nixon was president,
That's not harsh at all going down either.
No.
Smooth.
Very smooth.
yes, I'm a big fan of this whiskey.
It's good. I like it.
I don't know what it's like in other states, but this is considered an allocated product, and we have to actually fight in a lottery system as a restaurant to get a bottle of this.
Wow.
Should not
So
be
you
that.
can't just buy that at the liquor store.
No, so I'm giving you some really high quality stuff here. Like, I had to fight for this bottle.
I appreciate it.
Growing up in Japan, did you find, of course you can't drink as under, a certain age, of course, but do you have a sentimental...
Drink at a
You
certain
can't-
age.
Exactly. Do you have a sentimental attachment to the whiskeys from Japan, or is it more of, hey, just part of the...
I don't. I just saw them growing up over there, and the first whiskey I actually tried was with my uncle, who is Japanese. His name was Osami, and he drank Cutty Sark, which to this day is still one of my least favorite whiskeys made. And I thought as a kid I didn't like it just because I didn't like whiskey, but it turns out I just don't like the regular Cutty Sark whiskey. They do make some awesome expressions. I think, this is actually a different Cutty Sark blend called Prohibition Edition. And they don't sell this in Virginia anymore. This is our last bottle. But I really love this one. It is nothing but like a vanilla, like sweet bomb. And if he had given me this to try when I was a kid, I probably would have been an alcoholic because I really like this whiskey a lot. But regular Cutty Sark, no bueno. First one for me is a win. I know I love this whiskey, so this is almost cheating. If you at your house have a chance to buy yourself a bottle of this, and we've actually featured this on a show before, I highly recommend you do it. Usually retails for about $100 a bottle, but it's probably one of the best $100 bottles of whiskey out there. Neat from the Barrel is a very special product.
And you said you can get this here?
Occasionally. In Virginia, it's not always on the shelves. I feel like they only buy it like twice a year for the whole state. But when it's available, it doesn't necessarily fly off the shelves. People haven't figured out what this one is yet, which is kind of cool. So for some reason, allocated, not allocated.
So this one's what, 101 point something proof? 101.5?
I think so. 102.8.
Oh, this is a higher batch.
Yeah, but the different batches have different proofs, I guess.
It's super light as far as the smell.
Fruity.
So good.
Yeah, it doesn't really have...
Almost like green apple.
Yeah, I definitely get an apple,
Yeah.
but like not natural green apple, more like Jolly Rancher green. Like it's a really bright, like sweet nose. And that just shows I'm a kid at heart. My Jolly Rancher sticks.
Oh, yeah.
Or just drop them in Zimas. That shows my age right there. Yes, that's right. We drank Zima back in the day.
I get the Jolly Rancher like on the aftertaste.
Yeah.
But that's very good.
It's much more robust than that first one.
Yes.
Thicker, creamier, just more overall.
You don't get that from the smell, though.
No, the smell is very light. And I'm not actually... Sometimes with whiskeys, I'm shocked that happens. We have this one Canadian whiskey that we all love, but we hate the smell of. But to drink it, it's amazing.
All right.
And like there are just weird disconnects sometimes between nose and whiskey, nose and the taste on the whiskey. I think that trying this stuff earlier is getting me already. But yeah,
You're gonna have to slow down a little bit.
I am. I'm gonna have to pass this over to our producer. If the camera starts shaking, it's because I'm handing him whiskey. All right, so the last one is the Ohishi Isla cask rice whiskey. This has a completely different characteristic than the barley distillation. It's always a lot sweeter. It has more of like I don't know how to describe it. Like, it reminds me of like a citrus juice or something when you're drinking it. It really doesn't translate to the way the other whiskeys are, but it's in a good way. It's in a great way, actually.
You can definitely smell the cask.
And taste it. Wow. Yeah, it actually tastes more Islay than some Islay whiskeys do.
I was not expecting it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had this one, but it was.
Wow.
It's like being physically assaulted with a smoking ember.
Because you only get a little bit on that nose.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but then you drink it.
Your whole palate is like enveloped in char.
also it has like a different consistency.
I think the nose, you can smell the peat, but you can't smell the smoke, which is really interesting because when you taste it, you can't taste the peat, you taste the smoke. It's a really weird, it's like
Very dry.
like my humor. So the shocking thing to me on this one, actually, because they're just using the barrel from Islay whiskeys, is after you finish what's left in your mouth, I really get that big iodine note.
Yes.
And I didn't expect that because I kind of associate that with just the fresh use of smoked peat. This is wild.
And that was the flavor. I couldn't put my finger on it, but iodine is it.
So do you see the kind of sweet candy-like quality that I was talking about in this one? It just has a different way it lays on your tongue and fills up your palate. It's really interesting.
Yeah, for me, that's all I keep catching is that iodine.
And now that I said it, you can't get it out of your head.
It's definitely, I think, one of the coolest growing categories in whiskey.
I'd agree.
They seem to be putting a little bit more, how do you say it, like craft into their whiskeys. Like, I don't know if it's because they make less than other large Scotch distilleries, but some of these feel like more, like they care about them.
I think that's just the Japanese way in general. I mean, anything that they do, they try to do to the best of their ability. And if you think about the things that they've done with some of the American distilleries that they bought over the last 20 years, Four Roses bourbon prior to being Japanese owned was pretty
Trash.
Yeah. I don't want to say trash, but it wasn't good. It was just like rail bourbon or whatever. And now they're just producing some of the best juice in America. And the things that they've done at Beam since they took over have been amazing. And
Well, except for the Legion, but
I don't have a problem with Legion. I think that's actually a really nice whiskey. It was held up to a standard for a long time that people were expecting it to be some magnificent thing. It's a $40 bottle of whiskey. You can't expect so much out of
especially
it.
$40 nowadays.
Yes. And so I don't think it's fair to judge a whiskey against, say, some of the very, very best bourbons in the world that's meant to be a daily consumed product. I really enjoy the Legion. The ones I'm talking about are like the Jim Beam Distiller's Masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a 12-year sherry cask whiskey. They'd never done anything like that at Beam until the Japanese took over. And they're really just coming out with some new products like the Hardin's Creek products and things like that. They're awesome, and they weren't thought about before. And so it's just the Japanese way. I mean, the whole country in Japan is so different than the United States. You will never see a cigarette butt on the ground. You'll never see people littering. There's just so much pride in everything that they do. And
It definitely comes through on the whiskey.
it does. I love it. So that was about it that I wanted to talk about the show. I wanted to thank you all for coming and watching us. Please like, subscribe, and share if you can. You got to trick that algorithm into thinking we're much bigger than we are. Bye.